Hey, what's up guys? This is Andrew Mil-Spec with Combat Training. In this video we're going to talk about why we go weapon up whenever we are doing a reload or clearing a malfunction. The traditional way that's always been taught has been that you keep the rifle in your shoulder pointed straight down range, then you do your reload, or you trap it underneath your arm with a pistol. Generally, people will say that you keep it out here like this, extend it out, and they'll give two different reasons. Usually they'll say that's faster, and they'll also say that's safer. So let's talk about those things. First, speed. When we're talking about reload, we have emergency reload where the gun is empty, no round in chamber, and no rounds in the magazine. And the bolt should be locked to the rear. That depends on the rifle and if it's working correctly. Then we have the tactical reload, which is where we should have a round in the chamber and we should have rounds in the magazine and the bolt will be forward, right? I say should because sometimes things don't always go as planned. Pistols specifically, oftentimes people will be holding down the slide lock lever and the slide will go forward and they will think that there's a round in chamber and still rounds in the magazine, even though there's not. But that's more about why we rack it every time, regardless of whatever kind of reload we're doing. That's another video though. But okay, so there's an emergency, there's tactical. You want to be reloading the gun when you can, not when you have to. So you should be doing tactical reloads at any opportunity. As in, as soon as you're done fighting and you have a chance to, just top it off, put in a fresh mag. Having a fresh mag in the gun already is the fastest reload. And if you think about it like this, with an AR-15, I'll have 28 rounds loaded in the magazine. More than likely, I'm not going to burn through those 28 rounds before I have an opportunity to reload. Of course, things can go crazy where you will not have that opportunity, but any chance you get, you can also just tell someone to cover you if you're working in a team environment. You want to top off that gun. Now, as for speed, also, keeping the gun out here like this, it's harder to work with, right? And not that it's impossible. Generally, people can nail down a fast reload, but whenever they're doing that, they're standing still. Okay, whenever you watch like people doing reloads and they have a shot timer going on, it's usually one round, eject the mag, insert a new one, hit the bolt release, and then they fire another round. They're not moving. Okay, when you start moving and you have the rifle out like this, you have the center of gravity, which on this rifle is right there, right? That's what the center of gravity is. It's further away from your body, so it makes the rifle heavier. Also, you have this long weight extended out from your body. And when you're moving, especially if you're moving fast, it's going to be swinging around a lot more and it's going to be harder to control. Whereas, if I bring that center of gravity right here, closer to my body like this, I can move all around and it stays in one spot. Also, I can see what's happening. So if I screw up my reload, I can watch and put it in the magazine correctly, give a little tug, rack it, and I know it's gonna work. Okay, I watched a Marine tap, rack, click an upside down magazine for a minute straight one time because they were telling us we couldn't look at our weapon when we did our reload during this one specific drill. And it was all fucked up and retarded. So you may end up having to look at your weapon, and I'd rather you just do that for a second than sit there and fumble around, drop shit, and screw up your reload or screw up your malfunction clearing. Okay? So, as for speed, no. Just do tactical reloads whenever you can and locate your weapon if you have to. Okay? Yes, with night vision, nighttime, you should be able to do this without looking at it, but you might fucking have to look at it. So if you have to look at it, just look at it. Alright, now let's talk about safety. For safety, they'll say, you know, you need to keep the weapon pointed straight downrange, right? Now this is not a gunfight safety rule, and it's not a firearm safety rule. This is a range safety rule. So as long as you're not pointing your weapon at anything you do not intend to destroy, and you're keeping your finger off the trigger, you should be fine. There's always a chance of slam firing, as in you rack the gun, bolt goes home, and the firing pin hits the primer and the gun goes off. Or you dicked with your trigger, and you put in something that's supposed to be fancy, but it ends up NDing. As long as you don't hit anything, it would be an accidental discharge. But regardless, if you're following firearm safety rules, the gun goes off, that's an accident. If you're not and it goes off, that's negligence. But if you're following firearm safety rules, but around ricochets and hits someone, that falls back on negligence, okay? Because we're accountable for everything. Now, so let's talk about that. Again, keep the rifle point straight down range. That comes from range rules. And that's in the military, that's in law enforcement, that's in competition world, and it's especially true in indoor ranges and really flooded up gun clubs. If you go to an indoor range, you'll see people shot in the ceiling, but that's not because they had a slam fire. That's because they were breaking firearm safety rules because they are untrained. They don't know the firearm safety rules. They don't have those habits built in. Okay. In the Marine Corps, when we're doing rifle quals, we're supposed to keep the weapon pointed straight, right? Generally, that's what's taught. But the thing is, everyone's online, right? Everyone's online with each other. There's no one down range. Now, think about it like this. If there's a gunfight going on, there's probably going to be a lot of people there that you don't want to be shooting. People that do not need to be shot, okay? We only want to shoot the threats. We're accountable for every round that goes out. So, think about it like this. If the camera was the back of my buddy's head, do you think if I was fighting over here and I moved to cover, I'd want to do a reload like that? No, fuck no, okay? Point the weapon up. Now, if you're in a helicopter or up there, you know that there's good guys that don't need to be shot. That changes things, okay? Follow the firearm safety rules at all times. Never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to destroy. Use common sense, always do the right thing. But in general, pointing the weapon up, in most of the environment I'm in, there's no one up there in the sky. Okay, maybe a round goes off when it slam fires and, things just happen and it ends up hitting someone. But that dude obviously has bad luck anyways, okay? In general, that's not going to happen. And if you're inside a building, it's a one-story, it's going to go through the ceiling, it's going to get deflected and slow down. It's not going to do shit on the other side, okay? Follow the firearm safety rules at all times. But now, let's talk about specifically why do we want our weapon up, okay? When we have our weapon up like this, it's trapped inside my arm. The stock is against my rib cage. The center of gravity is near to my body, okay? It's easier to control. I can do a lot of movement. I can see what's going on. I can work the gun. And I'm not having anything fatiguing happen to me. Because again, it's a long weight out there, especially when you have a silencer or you got an AK or something like that where it's more front heavy. It gets more difficult. And you want it tighter to your body. The other thing is I have an ejection port down, okay? When the ejection port is down, whenever I get a malfunction, it allows it to clear itself. Like I said, I already did a video on how to properly load an AR-15 rifle and all the screwed up ways that people are doing it and why not to do that stuff. Putting an ejection port down, generally, it will clear most malfunctions that you'll get as far as failure feed, failure fire, type 2 is stovepipe, and sometimes even a double feed. Doing immediate action with ejection port down will clear that. If you don't have ejection port down, it's probably only going to clear a type 1. Okay, so just always go ejection port down whenever you're clearing a malfunction. Alright guys, hey, hope you liked that video. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video, and keep fighting communism.